What is going on, everybody? It is Complexity, and today we are taking a look at why you owe people who are afraid of butterflies an apology by Casual Geographic. Dude does really amazing work. Go ahead and check his link out in the description below. Let's get right into this and figure out why it is that we should be apologizing to people who are freaked out by butterflies. I will say this, though. Whatever the hell this is on my screen right now definitely looks like something out of an Aliens movie. It sounds like somebody's getting that work done. That's what it sounds like real quick.
Plenty of animals have pretty privilege, and no other animal has ridden that train further than a gutterfly. I did not misspeak. This halo effect insect is an abomination with wings, and if that effect
What the hell is that?
a gutterfly. I did not misspeak. This
What is that? Is that like mites or something? Now, I do know that butterflies are like cannibalistic, if I'm not mistaken. They are cannibalistic, but holy Jesus Christ, that is
halo effect insect is an abomination with wings, and if that offends you, you could die in a field today. Corpse still warm.
I do know that butterflies will eat people. I do know that.
Last thing you might see is a bloodthirsty butterfly swarm. Many butterflies drink blood, among other things. Butterflies will do this thing called mud puddling, and essentially, it's using that built-in straw called a proboscis to suck the juices out of organic matter to farm free nutrients.
They're just like pretty flying spiders? Is that what they are?
Flies usually get it out the mud, but they'll also suck on rotting plants, feces, and dead bodies. You don't even have to die. If you pull over to the side of the road to relieve yourself and come back hours later, you may find a flutter of fiends feeding on your urine. See now.
Yo, what is with butterflies and the freaky? Okay, that I did not know about butterflies. Like, I knew that they were cannibalistic. I knew that they were omnivores and that they would like drink blood and all that. But what? They getting all R. Kelly up in here.
You thought they just used flowers as fuel, and that is true. The problem is just a diet of sugar water would leave butterflies without key minerals they need. One of those minerals is sodium, and they'll go to extreme lengths to secure it, even irritating the eyes of reptiles to drink the tears. Crocodile tears have
Freaking butterflies are out here bullying turtles and crocodiles. That's crazy. I'm gonna be honest. I had no idea that they did something like that. Imagine getting bullied by a butterfly as like one of the most apex predators out there.
Have used to someone. Of course, butterflies taste through receptors on their feet, so one landing on you doesn't make you a Disney princess. It makes you a sodium-seasoned rest stop for a flamboyant fly that's just using you until it gets what it wants and moves on to the next mark. Because butterflies are boys with wings, and that is not a joke, because their mating behavior is at a pocket for something with its PR, but one thing at a time, we'll get to that. But the only thing more questionable than what some butterflies eat is what some people will do to find them. The purple emperor is a beautiful, ethereal muse to any entomophile. It's also a death.
What the an entomophile? Is that somebody who like likes butterflies, I guess, or like studies butterflies or whatever?
Merchant that avoids flowers, instead preferring rotting animal flesh and fecal waste. That hasn't.
Yo, what is it with like insects, man, and like feces, bro? What is it like? You got the dung beetle, you got butterflies, you got like dogs, you got like, okay.
Stop folks from seeking out this corpse fly, and here are some of the things people have used to attract them. Rotting fish, fermented shrimp paste, stinking bishop cheese, dog poop, roadkill, very used
What did I say about the dog shit?
diapers, and in one
Who is out here using used diapers? How do you even like figure this out? How do you even figure this out? You're just like, you know what? The dog shit was pretty good. You know, it got us some butterflies. Let's go ahead and use actual human shit. What? Scientists are freaking, you know what? Couldn't be me, dude. Roadkill, I understand. All that stuff I understand because, like, you know, you use dead fish for like crabs and stuff like that, or like crawdads. But that's fucking what the
case, a trailer of pig poop. But according to longtime enthusiasts, one of the biggest turn-ons for a purple emperor is urine-soaked fox poop. I don't think that's a coincidence, because not only are butterflies fine to mine for liquid gold, science says they might prefer the pee of carnivores, specifically mountain lions, to that of humans or cows.
How are they figuring this out? Do they just like take the piss of like a bunch of different animals and they're like, hey, here you go, butterflies. Let's just put it in there like a freaking hamster bottle or something to see if they like it or not.
So when you
Like, oh yeah, really enjoying the mountain lion one, but you know, the cheetahs not so much. It's just they don't have that tanginess for me.
say they prefer cougar pee, we're talking about in more ways than just cloudy with a chance of storming Daniels. But butterflies are opportunists that'll take them from anywhere, and Russian experiments have shown that vampire moths, yeah, them's a thing, are able to use hook-shaped tongues to drill through human skin and feed on the blood. But that was just an experiment. To you watching this, a vampire moth is no risk.
Of course.
Know of. That being said, butterflies are not what you think they are, and the more you learn about them, the more you understand why SpongeBob turned his town into an Avengers end credit after experiencing its mugshot once. The funniest part is,
yeah, but you got a butterfly underwater. I don't think you have to worry about that in the real world.
the close-up they crashed out over was actually a horsefly, probably because they knew an actual butterfly would have ruined the animal for an entire generation. Because like I said, no animal has had better PR than a mosquito in drag. In fact, even their name might be a cover-up. A popular theory is that their original name was actually Flutterby, and the global game of telephone ended predictably. It's much more likely that it came from the Dutch word butterscheiter, or buttersh, is apparently a butterfly bowel movement.
Okay, that actually makes more sense. Butter shit, especially if they're freaking out here, you know, consuming the unmentionables.
It's like a brick of butter. It's not 100% confirmed, but believing otherwise goes against my narrative, so I'm gonna disregard it. Insane intro aside, what is it that makes a butterfly?
Remember, you always do that. If you're trying to tell a narrative and there's information out there that doesn't go with it, doesn't fit with it, just fucking do away with it. Who gives a shit? Who fucking cares?
Because I wasn't kidding. If you're like me, butterflies are not what you think. Like on a scientific level, Lepidoptera represents the order of flying insects that are, well, basically moths and anything that looks like a moth. Butterflies are a relatively small superfamily that's less than 10% of the Lepidoptera party, with a small contribution of at most 20,000 species. Everything else is a moth. They go to war, moths clear. There are also skippers, which are
Well, moths are like massive creatures, aren't they? Like moths are like some of the biggest, like out of all of them are moths, right? The big, massive freaking moths. I mean, you obviously, you know, you got Mothman out here clapping cheeks, creating giant freaking, you know, cryptids and shit like that. So it makes sense. It makes sense.
technically butterflies, but were such an out-of-character butterfly that science thought it was its own thing. Long story short, it's a butterfly that heavily borrows from the moth's playbook, especially when it comes to flying. Which gets straight up confusing when you realize there's an animal called a moth butterfly that skippers have nothing to do with. But basically, American moth butterflies are that weird.
Oh, that looks like a dragonfly.
Only ever see during the holidays type of family of butterfly that were so weird and mothy, it kept them from the butterfly function until recently. Boring high school sciencey stuff aside, it's a moth's world. Butterflies are just a small part of it. I say that because there will be mentions of moths in this video, and I just know I'd get my Lepidoptera pass checked if I didn't make that clear. Because there's a lot of evolutionary headassery going on with moths.
What the hell? They look like a
And I
snake.
just know I'd get my Lepidoptera pass checked if I didn't make that clear. Because there's a lot of
That looks like a snake head. What did that okay, that's actually pretty interesting because I imagine it's like it's due to the fact of like predators and all that, you know, other insects.
evolutionary headassery going on with moths, and I'm not about to leave it out on a technicality. So yeah, butterflies are not what you think. Even in an artistic sense, that butterfly's dead. If I ask you all to draw a butterfly, chances are 95% of you would draw this, and you would be illustrating a corpse. For some reason, butterflies are often drawn the same way dead ones are pinned and displayed by those who collect them. We basically did a blobfish to the butterfly, and immortalized their death pose. A butterfly might hit this pose at some point in its natural life, but most times a butterfly looking like this isn't. But it was. My condolences to anyone watching this and realizing they have a dead winger tattooed on them. So while we did do butterflies dirty
Well, I think it's just easier to draw like that rather than in other ways, like mid-flight.
butterflies don't need help doing that themselves with the things they eat, and that really starts as caterpillars. As you know, butterflies have many forms, and the caterpillar's job is to eat as much as physically possible. Caterpillars have the type of greed they warn you about in the Bible. No other animal reaches such biblical levels of gluttony. A caterpillar can eat 200 times its birth weight in the first 2 weeks, which can become
God
1,000
damn.
times its weight in only 2 months. Now those numbers probably don't hit as hard as a North American silk moth. No animal alive eats more relative
See, this is what I was talking about. The size. Look at these things. Look at these things. They're like familiars in video games, man.
to body size than a marauding moth, which will eat 86,000 times its body weight in less than 2 months of life. To keep that same pace, your 7-pound baby would have to scarf 273 metric tons of mass, or 601,861 pounds worth of Similac. Pot of greed. Caterpillars eating constantly
But it is also different. They're eating all of this in like freaking shrubs and stuff.
does have a consequence, and is them being in a perpetual state of dropping bombs. The scientific name for caterpillar waste is frass, and these hedonists pile on the frass by the metric hecton. If you live in the area code of the gypsy moth, then you've likely woken up to the sound of heavy rain with no water, because it was actually the sound of caterpillars mass flooding folks with frass from
Oh no. Thank you, YouTube. So grateful.
Sound of heavy rain with no water, because it was actually the sound of caterpillars mass flooding folks with frass from above. To be fair, if you could get all your lifetime bathroom visits out the way in only a few weeks, in that time the toilet would never not be attached to your cheeks. But another consequence of caterpillars unloading enough bricks to rebuild the city of Gotham, or Newark, is predators like wasps will track them down by following the brown brick road. So many caterpillars can ballistically launch their own fecal matter like a cannonball. The skipper caterpillar brown brick road. So many caterpillars can ballistically launch their own fecal matter.
Dude, he just shot that shit like a cannon. Well, no pun intended, but damn. They have freaking cannon asses or ass blasters, if you know Tremors.
Like a cannonball. The skipper caterpillar can shot put its own product up to 40 times its own body length, which is the equivalent of a man blowing it out the other end over 200 feet. Mind you, the world record for shot put is 77. Caterpillars shoot the but ain't no back talk, and the chances a habitual slinger shoots one into your mouth is low. Science won't let it be zero. But they don't always shoot it, only because caterpillars will also use their poop to manipulate the very plants they eat. Plants don't just get munched on all day and just take it. They'll produce chemicals to repel plant predators like caterpillars. Not only that, but those chemicals are like a cry for help, where one plant being eaten can warn others with its aromatic alarm bell. The catch is, they can only react to one threat at once, and the armyworm caterpillar exploits this by dropping deuces that tricks the plant into thinking it's being attacked by a fungal infection. The plant can only deal with one problem at a time, and while it's crashing out trying to fight a fungus that isn't there, the armyworm has free reign to eat it along with any other plant taking a cue from it. That's
Yo, dude, there's something about the animal kingdom where people are just, you know, or people, where insects and animals have this innate ability to just evolve over time to trick other things. It's crazy. Like imagine it's like imagine somebody is able to trick you into like defeating you. You know, it's basically being it's like throwing a feint, basically. Like if you're fighting, like you go to throw a feint and then bam, you hit him with the other one. Jesus Christ. But the entire time, you know, you're being devoured.
diabolical. The plant's get back is devious. Some plants can release a chemical that turns caterpillars into cannibals. Apparently, methyl jasmonate is such an insult to a caterpillar's palate that when plants would produce it as a defense, the caterpillars decided they'd rather eat each other instead. Simply not eating is not an option.
Okay. Maybe we were a little too harsh on the movie The Happening. Maybe we were just a little too harsh on that.
And the moment a plant becomes less palatable is the moment you see a bunch of sandworms start ripping into each other. Although in the plant's defense, caterpillars don't need much to turn on each other, and the moment caterpillars realize there isn't enough milkweed to go around, they'll start aggressively headbutting each other to steal food. So caterpillars don't always choose violence, unless it's food. Then the bulkworm's ready for war. But the reason the hungry caterpillar is more of a curse than a kid's book is because they'll need all that energy for metamorphosis. And if the endgame of that wasn't a butterfly, we'd probably look at the whole process differently. You know it starts when hell freezes over and the caterpillar does something wildly out of character. It stops eating. If you keep watching, you'll witness the caterpillar split its skin and then pull its flesh suit down and then writhe around like a foot trying to emancipate itself from a gym sock until the skin suit falls and reveals a gooey casing called the chrysalis. So a quick rundown. The chrysalis is a shell booger the switch up happens in. Pupa usually refers to the life stage this happens in, and the cocoon you may remember hearing about are the silk cases many moths will make as a chrysalis substitute. Some moths don't cocoon, but no butterfly does. Now the process of metamorphosis is beautiful and has also been associated with rebirth. It might be associated with something else if nature removed the modesty chamber and
which is insane, absolutely insane to go from this plump little, like, you know, tree worm or something to, like, you know, something that can actually fly. Like, dude, like, come on. Why can't we have a chrysalis and get some wings? You know what? Maybe we're just not eating enough people.
and let you see what actually happens. Inside the chrysalis, the caterpillar releases enzymes to dissolve its tissues, basically digesting itself into almost soup. If you cut the chrysalis, a mess of caterpillar slushy would spill out. The only things that don't turn into
Alright, that's fucking gross.
breakfast are imaginal discs, and what they are is basically whatever they need to be. They're like the blueprint to their adult life, with discs for every butterfly body part like wings, eyes, antennae, and they lay dormant in the constantly eating caterpillar like a sleeper cell. The only thing stopping it from activating is the juvenile hormone in the caterpillar, and the same way neutering neophytes kept castratos sounding young, the hormone Peter Pans the caterpillar and keeps them young so they can keep eating like nature's favorite feedie. Once the hormone drops, the caterpillar pupates, and those sleeper cell imaginal discs use the protein-fueled former caterpillar to fuel rapid cell division. The process isn't one-to-one for every caterpillar, but that's pretty much the spark notes. Monarch butterflies occupy a chrysalis anywhere from 10 to 14 days. Some, like desert orange tips, will wait years, some say even close to a decade, for the right conditions to pop out. Another fact is that adult butterflies can remember part of their lives as caterpillars, even with their time as butterfly broth in between. Science shows that caterpillars conditioned to avoid certain smells through electrical shocks go on to show the same discernment as flying adults. I feel like that's
Is that a snake or is that a caterpillar?
conditioned to avoid certain
Dude, if that's a caterpillar, that's freaking yo. Nature is crazy. Nature is absolutely crazy, man.
Smells through electrical shocks go on to show the same discernment as flying adults. I feel like that's way cooler than people give credit for, but it's also
This has to be the caterpillar that they created like a Caterpie off of. There's no way. It looks way too similar.
possible they do remember their past lives of greed, which might be why many moths don't have mouths altogether. Okay, that's a joke. Well, not the no mouth thing. The Luna moth is only alive for as long as its caterpillar past ate for. But the reason is because the same way a caterpillar's job is only to eat, once they can fly, their main priority is getting laid. Flutterbys have one job, and it's to mate, and some moths take the sentiment literally. Because a closed mouth won't get fed, but no mouth might get oh, my bad. I mean her abdomen. Touching abdomens is how butterflies mate, and the process is much less innocent than you want to believe. Yeah, it's about that time. Almost every messed up thing about butterflies comes down to them catching a date. Butterflies will use several factor authentication like sound, color, even flight patterns to choose a mate, but the real secret sauce are pheromones. Males use pheromones like a calling card, and many moths and butterflies have a hair pencil to help get the message out further. Also called the coromata, it's a scent organ that inflates and fans out pheromones to anyone who might be interested. And with over 180,000 species of moths and not moths, someone was bound to take it too far. And Crane's Genghis shows you just how far love makes
Okay. Dude, it's tentacle. Oh man. I will say though, some of the animals like mating rituals completely crazy to like, normal humans, but that's crazy. They imagine having just a big old like quadruple fangs to be swinging around. Be like, you like it? You like this? You want to hop on?
some guys go. If it's any solace, a horny male moth can't fly with its coromata out. Life finds a way. Also, yes, Australia. Males use the food they
Of course. Everything's Australia. Everything's Australia. Of course.
It has caterpillars to help fuel pheromones, which is why it's often the males you'll see puddling the juices out of a compost pile, especially since the chemicals are more for just attracting mates. After mating, male butterflies will often spray their partners with an anti-aphrodisiac that makes the female completely unattractive to other males. That wouldn't even be that bad, but parasites like wasps clock the method, so now I got wasps tracking a recently deflowered female.
See, everything has a purpose in nature. Everything learns, everything grows. The males turn around and they grow the ability, or they turn around and have the ability to freaking spray them to hopefully spray and pray to hope that they don't mate with somebody else. But then you have the wasps that turn around and they they go through their own evolution to be able to track these pheromones. It's all a cycle of life. It's just cycle.
Her anti-aphrodisiac after spray and hitching a ride on her, waiting until the female lays eggs so the stowaway can parasitize them. The end game is her larva getting eaten from the inside by a brood of xenomorphs. Luckily in studies, less than 10% of wasps were successful, but that's what an insecure man can do to you. But some males don't stop at man repelling. Some went ahead and invented chastity belts. Few males will excrete this weird waxy substance designed to plug up his partner's female parts, which
bro. It's the reverse chastity belt. Dude's out here using freaking super glue to get the hooter all freaking sealed up. That's wild.
Physically seals her off from other males. It's a literal breeding block, but that leaves a problem. It's in the female's best interest to mate with as many males as possible, but it also behooves the male to brute force monogamy, which has led to this evolutionary arms race with females flexing increasingly harder to plug junk and males producing even more blobs of scabby petroleum jelly. But that is far from the most felonious way males buff their chances. Some people have experienced the rare occurrence of two butterflies in one chrysalis. Really, it's the scene of a crime. Some, like the zebra longwing, won't even wait until the female is fresh out the pupa stage. As the female's getting ready to break out of the chrysalis, a gang of males can swarm her and start fighting for position. The winner then rips into her chrysalis to mate with her while she's still stuck in the stage.
You got gang in the butterfly cult, bro. This is what I'm saying. Like, a lot of the time people want to turn around and be like, oh my god, courtship and all that. The animal kingdom is a scary place to be. Okay, we do not want to be more like the animals of the animal kingdom. We're already animalistic enough as humans, but you're telling me we got freaking legit, we don't even have like this is like the epitome of spawn camping, bro. That's crazy.
The term for this. Some call it pupa rope. Now insects can't absolutely consent, so maybe that's too far. So forced copulation is a nicer way to describe it. But the rising female has zero choice in the matter when she basically gets spawn camped, and that just feels illegal. Still just butterflies, right? But when you only have a couple weeks to live, you pull out all the stops to make sure your genes don't pass tense with you. And it's why male butterflies are more likely to suck the sweat off your back. Not only do those nutrients help form pheromones, during mating, males will pass off nutrients to the female as a sort of consummation gift that helps the eggs, and in some species, the males will transfer 25% of their body weight in the process, which explains why male butterflies are crackheads when it comes to some mineral, and some males take it so far Science had to invent a whole nother word for what they do, because in North Sulawesi in Indonesia, milkweed butterflies were seen harassing, scratching, and eventually sucking the juices out of caterpillars. The same claws they use to scratch the sweet out of leaves, they'll use on a caterpillar until their internal essence spills out, and at that point, the butterfly treats its own kind like a juice box, which led to
Yo, they're out here gutting caterpillars? Bro, same team. Same team. Like, goddamn. They seriously are all about, like, they go from all about eating to all about, plowing. That's crazy. Same team, bro. Damn.
to the term kleptopharmacology, because they're not exactly preying on the pillars, more than just stealing their substance, and a lot of times the caterpillars actually survive, although knowing that they keep their memories as adults, probably not without PTSD. I think I'd rather die. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. If you come away from this video thinking less of butterflies or even hating them, then I failed at my job. I never want to be the reason y'all hate an animal when there isn't an animal alive that I hate.
This is pretty interesting. I think the only thing that, like, I don't know about, like, owing anybody who's afraid of butterflies an apology, because it's not like they're out here being like man eaters and all that. But this is freaking crazy. I don't understand. That's wild stuff, though. I think the craziest part about it was the pupa gang. That's absolutely freaking wild. But fantastic video from Casual Geographic. Check them out. Link in the description below. I have been Complexity. Hit the like, subscribe, notification bell. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.